Welcome children to your English class. Here I am going to conclude chapter 9. Madam rides the bus. This chapter is from your first flight book. Let's begin the explanation. After completing first two parts of the chapter, here we will proceed for the third part of the chapter 9. Madam rides the bus. See the paragraph. Her first journey, what careful, painstaking, elaborate plans she had to make for it. She had thriftily saved whatever stray coins came her way, resisting every temptation to buy peppermints, toys, balloons, and the like. And finally, she had saved a total of 60 paisa. How difficult it had been, particularly that day at the village fair. Painstaking, that means very careful and thorough. Elaborate, that means detailed. Thriftily, that means to spend money very carefully. Temptation, that means strong urge or desire to have or do something. Resisting, that means controlling. Here in this part of the story, you are coming to know how Wally, the small girl of just 8 years of age, she was going to fulfill her desire and wish to enjoy the first bus ride. For this bus journey, she had to make planning, replanning, calculation and recalculation, and thus was able to manage her first bus ride. Right now, while sitting in the bus, she again thought about that how she had to put innumerable amount of efforts in planning and saving money for this dream ride. She even had to resist every temptation that was ranging to buy the peppermints, toys, balloons, and the like things. And even she had to control to enjoy the merry-go-rounds at the village fair. Hence, after making all the efforts, she was able to save the total amount of the 60 paisa. That was the bus fare for one side journey. How difficult it had been, particularly the day at the village fair, but she had resolutely stifled a strong desire to ride the merry-go-round, even though she had the money. Resolutely stifled, that means suppressed or controlled with determination. So here it is said, she remembered that how during the village fair she controlled her temptation and strong desire even to stop herself to enjoy the merry-go-round, though she had the sufficient money in her hand, and this way she had saved the money to enjoy this bus ride. After she had enough money saved, her next problem was how to slip out of the house without her mother's knowledge, but she managed this without too much difficulty. After saving the required finance, that means the amount for the bus ticket, the girl then had to face the next problem, that was how to come out of the house without being noticed by anyone, even by her mother. This also she sought out without much difficulty. Every day after lunch, her mother would nap from about 1 to 4 or so, while he always used these hours for her excursions, as she stood looking from the doorway of a house, or sometimes even ventured out into the village. Today, these same hours could be used for her first excursion outside the village. Nap, that is the short sleep taken during the daytime. Excursions, that means the enjoyable trips. Ventured out, that means to went out cautiously or courageously. So here the girl now shares out the part of her planning, how to sneak out of her home to enjoy her bus ride. As her mother used to sleep during the afternoon time, for the time period of 1 to 4 hours. Wally used to take benefit of this time and of her sleep and used to go for her excursions in the village. All her enjoyable trips she used to make during this time of the afternoon. The bus rolled on, now cutting across a bare landscape, now rushing through a tiny hamlet or past an odd wayside shop. Bare, that means open. Hamlet, that is a small village or the small settlement with a few houses. Here it is. However, it is explained, Wally's bus was now moving across the area which was open and barren with a very few plantation. And he found it was running fast through the area which had a very few huts and the human settlements. And on the other side of the road, he found there was a shop. Sometimes the bus seemed on the point of gobbling up another vehicle that was coming towards them or a pedestrian crossing the road. Gobbling up, that means to swallow or eat someone greedily. Pedestrian, that is a person traveling on foot. As the bus was moving at a high speed, Wally thought it was going to swallow the oncoming vehicles and the people who were walking on foot. But lo, somehow it passed on smoothly, leaving all obstacles safely behind. Obstacles, that means difficulties or the problems. But the bus passed everything safely and crossed all the hurdles coming on the way. Trees came running towards them but then stopped as the bus reached them and simply stood there helpless for a moment by the side of the road before rushing away in the other direction. As the bus was moving, it seemed to Wally that all the trees outside were rushing towards the bus. But when the bus stopped, they also stood for a moment helplessly by the other side of the road. But when again the bus started, they also started moving away in the other direction of the bus. Suddenly Wally clapped her hands with glee. A young cow, tail high in the air, was running very fast right in the middle of the road, right in front of the bus. Glee means happiness and joy. It is explained here that all of a sudden the girl was filled with happiness and joy to find a scene outside the bus. She started clapping her hands in enjoyment to see the scene outside the bus. She found a young cow with its tail high in the air was running and coming in the middle of the road and had come right in front of the bus. The bus slowed to a crawl and the driver sounded his horn loudly again and again. But the more he honked, the more frightened the animal became and the faster it galloped, always right in front of the bus. Honked, that means to blow horn. Galloped, that means to run very fast or to jump. Now on seeing the cow in the middle of the road, the bus driver, he slowed down the speed of the bus to give the way to the cow. And even he honked repeatedly. With effect of the honking sound of the horn, the cow got very much frightened. It was so much scared that it started jumping, galloping just in front of the bus. Somehow this was very funny to Wally. She laughed and laughed until there were tears in her eyes. "Hey lady, haven't you laughed enough?" called the conductor. "Better save some for tomorrow." However, This sight seemed to the small girl Valli to be extremely funny and humorous. She laughed to the extent that it brought the tears to her eyes. On seeing the condition of Valli, the conductor did not miss the chance of teasing the girl. He commented that it was enough for the day and the girl should save this laughter for the next day. At last, the cow moved off the road, and soon the bus came to a railroad crossing. A speck of a train could be seen in the distance, growing bigger and bigger as it drew near. Speck, that means a little spot or a small amount. It is told somehow the car went off the road on its own and the bus moved. And next it stopped at a level crossing from where a train was visible as a tiny dot from the distance. But it was growing bigger and bigger when it was coming near to the bus. Then it rushed past the crossing gate with a tremendous roar and rattle, shaking the bus. Then the bus went on and passed the train station. Tremendous means great or too much. Roar, that means loud, deep sound. Rattle, that means making rapid, hard repeated sounds. Shaking, that means move forcefully. As the train seemed to be larger when it came near the bus. And then it passed with a huge roar and thus shaking the entire road along with the bus of this girl. Thus the train passed with its huge roar, rattling sound and shaking the entire road along with this bus of Valli. After this, once again, the bus moved on and passed the railway station. From there, it traversed a busy, well laid out shopping street, turning entered a wider thoroughfare. Such big, bright looking shops were glittering displays of clothes and other merchandise. Such crowd traversed, that means to travel across. Thoroughfare, that means a busy public road. Glittering, that means shining. Merchandise, these are the things for the sale. Thus, after passing through the railway station, the bus moved and reached a narrow, congested shopping street. And then it took turn and entered into a wider, busy public road. There were big and brightly lit shops on the road and were making the good display of the clothes and other things for sale. Valli was surprised to see all these decoration of these brightly lit shops. She was attracted towards all the lights and the decorations over there. She glanced at each and everything over there. Struck dumb with wonder, Valli kept at everything. Then the bus stopped and everyone got off except Valli. "Hey lady," said the conductor, "are not you ready to get off? This is as far as your 30 paisa takes you." Struck dumb, that means shocked or surprised. Gaped at, that means to stare with one's mouth wide open. Here the girl. However, the girl here was shocked to see the glittering shops and the glamour of the market. She kept her mouth wide open and started gazing at each and everything. Finally, the bus reached its final destination and everyone except Valli deboarded the bus. When all the passengers got down, the conductor informed the girl by again making fun of the girl by addressing with the word lady. He informed the girl that this was the last stop and just then. And the girl had to got down now as with her 30 paisa amount only this much far the girl could travel. But given. No, Wally said, I'm going back on the same bus. And she took another 30 paisa from her pocket and handed the coins to the conductor. Now, the girl said that she was not getting down as she was going back with the same bus on a return journey to the village. And then instantly she took out another 30 paisa amount from her pocket and gave the whole coins to the conductor. Why? Is something the matter? No, nothing is the matter. I just felt like having a bus ride. That's all. Here the conductor was confused to know why the girl was not getting down and returning back. He inquired for the reason. To this, the girl replied that nothing was the matter. She just wanted to take the bus ride. That's all was the reason. Don't you want to have a look at the sights now that you are here? All by myself. Oh, I would be much too afraid. However, the conductor inquired if the girl had come to this now long distance if she was not interested to see the wonderful sights over here. Then the girl replied how it was possible by a child alone. How it could be possible for her, being small, to go alone around. She was much afraid to move around to enjoy the sights all alone here in the town. Greatly amused by the girl's way of speaking, the conductor said, but you were not afraid to come in the bus. Here, once again, the conductor enjoyed the manner of speaking of this girl. Again, making fun of the girl, he asked how she had gathered the confidence to travel alone in the bus. Nothing to be afraid of about that, she answered. She replied to this that what was the thing to be afraid? To travel alone? Well, then why not go to that stall over there and have something to drink? Nothing to be afraid of about that either. Oh no, I could not do that. Well then, let me bring you a cold drink. Once again, maintaining his nature, the conductor asked the girl if she was brave, why she was not going to the stall nearby and had some soft drink. Why she was being afraid as nothing to be scared of here. But again she refused. To this, the conductor offered that then he would go to bring the soft drink for the girl. Should he do? He asked the girl. No, I don't have enough money. Just give me my ticket. That's all. It will be my treat and not cost you anything. Here the girl refused the conductor's offer to bring the drink for her. She said she did not have the spare money. She had only that much amount to purchase the return ticket. That's all she had. Now this time, knowing this fact, the conductor said that it won't cost the girl anything. He insisted it would be treat to the girl from his side. No, no, she said firmly. Please no. The conductor shrugged and they waited until it was the time for the bus to begin the return journey. Again, there were not many passengers. Shrugged that means to raise shoulders to express doubt or indifference. However, here the girl strongly denied the offer of the conductor to bring the drink for her for free of cost. The conductor also showed his indifference. He shrugged his shoulders and then both of them started waiting for the time for the return journey time of the bus. And once again the bus started. But this time in the return journey there were very few passengers in the bus. Won't your mother be looking for you? The conductor asked when he gave the girl a ticket. No, no one will be looking for me, she said. However, in return journey, the conductor became friendly with the girl. While giving ticket to the girl, showing his concern, he inquired from her whether her mother would be looking for her at home. To this, she replied that no one would be searching for her. The bus started, and again there were the same wonderful sights. However, when the bus started, again there were the same wonderful and the beautiful sights outside the bus. Valli was not bored in the slightest and treated everything with the same excitement she had felt the first time. Valli was not bored in the slightest and greeted everything with the same excitement she had felt the first time. But suddenly she saw a young boy lying dead by the roadside, just where it had been struck by some fast moving vehicle. Once again in the return journey, Valli was not at all feeling bored. She was enjoying and looking at the things with the same excitement, just she had enjoyed the things at the first time. In the return journey, the girl was once again not getting bored even an inch, looking at the sights outside the bus. She was taking the same enjoyment and happiness from the things and the sights outside the bus, just she enjoyed for the first time. But suddenly she saw a young cow lying dead by the roadside, just where it had been struck by some fast moving vehicle. But all of a sudden she found a cow lying dead by the side of the road. She understood this cow had been hit by some fast moving vehicle. Is not that the same cow that ran in front of the bus on a trip to town? She asked the conductor. However, the girl confirmed from the conductor whether this was the same cow which they had seen moving swiftly in front of the bus while their journey towards the town. The conductor nodded and she was overcome with sadness. What had been a lovable, beautiful creature just a little while ago had now suddenly lost its charm and its life and looked so horrible, so frightening as it lay there, legs spread eagled, a fixed stare in its lifeless eyes, blood all over. Nodded means shook the head. Overcome, that means filled with. Charm, that means beauty. Horrible, that means terrible. Spread eagle, that means spread out. However, the conductor shook his head in yes, that it was the same cow. Now to know this fact, the girl suddenly became sad. She was wondering how a lovable and playful creature had instantly transformed into the horrible and lifeless thing. But now it had lost its beauty, its life. Its legs were spread out, and there was the fixed stare, gaze in the lifeless eyes of the animal, and there was the spread of the blood of the cow all over the ground. The bus moved on. The memory of the dead cow haunted her, dampening her enthusiasm. She no longer wanted to look out of the window. Haunted, that means to return of something repeatedly into the mind. Dampen, that means to make less strong. However, when the bus moved forward, the memory of the dead cow, it haunted the mind of the girl, and it also stole all the enthusiasm of the girl about the bus journey. She even stopped looking outside the window to enjoy the beautiful sights outside the bus. She sat thus glued to her seat until the bus reached a village at 3:40. She stood up. Then, in the further journey, the girl sat silently, sticking to her seat until she reached her home at around 3:40. Then She stood up. She stood up and stretched herself. Then she turned to the conductor and said, "Well, sir, I hope to see you again." "Okay, madam," he answered, her smiling. "Whenever you feel like a bus ride, come and join us. And don't forget to bring your fare." However, when Wally's village came, she stood up from her seat and she tried to stretch her body. That means she tried to feel relaxed now. Then, addressing the conductor, she informed that she was going to meet him again with her next bus ride. To this, the conductor also replied in a sarcastic manner by saying that the girl could come anytime and join him for the bus ride, but he also reminded the girl to bring the bus fare for the next time too. She laughed and jumped down from the bus. Then away she went running straight for home. However, to get this mode of reply by the conductor, again in the funny manner, made the girl happy. So very now happily and enjoyfully she got down from the bus and then started running straight towards her home. When she entered her house, she found her mother awake and talking to one of Wally's aunts, the one from South Street. This aunt was a real chatterbox, never closing her mouth when she started talking. Chatterbox is a person who does a lot of talking. Now, while making the entry into the house, the girl found her mother had already woke up from her afternoon sleep and she was talking to some of her aunt who belonged to South Street. Wally had given this aunt the name the real chatterbox as it was quite difficult for anyone to stop this lady from talking. "And where have you been?" said her aunt when Wally came in. She spoke very casually, not expecting a reply. So Wally just smiled and her mother and aunt went on with their conversation. Even the aunt asked from the girl from where she was coming, as Wally spoke very casually with the aunt. So without now replying anything, she went inside the house and her mother and the aunt continued their talk. "Yes, you are right," her mother said. "So many things in our midst and in the world outside. How can we possibly know about everything? And even when we do know about something, we often cannot understand it completely. Can we?" That moment, both the ladies were discussing about the endless possibilities of the things and the changes going on in this world. Her mother was saying how possibly one could know about everything going on in this world. Even if we say that we knew about something, we cannot claim that we thoroughly understand and know about them. It is not possible in the modern world. "Oh, yes," breathed Valli. Yes, Valli also affirmed that her mother was right. She was happy. That's why she took a long breath of relief that no one came to know about her outing. "What?" asked her mother. "What does Dad you say?" "Oh," said Valli, "I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge." Her mother was surprised to hear her comment. That what the girl wanted to say. Then Valli justified her reaction by mentioning that she was casually agreeing to her mother's point, that really the things were happening and changing without the knowledge of them all. That means without the knowledge of all the human beings, the things were now quickly and abruptly changing. "Just a chit of girl she is," said her aunt, "and yet look how she pokes her nose into our conversation just as though she were a grown lady." Chit of a girl, that means quite a small girl. Poke nose, that means to take interest in something that doesn't concern someone. However, here, Wally's aunt remarked about the girl to be a no-smoking child who tried to act like a grown-up lady. She didn't like why a small child was interfering in the talks of the adults. Wally smiled to herself. She did not want them to understand her smile. But then there was not much chance of that. Was there? However, Valli was here, smiling to herself. Actually, she was here giving the hint about her own smartness, how she has done the enjoyment without the knowledge of her elders. So that's why she remarked this, that nobody could come to know what's happening without the knowledge of them. However, with this comment, the girl wanted to say how, without the knowledge of her elders, she had accomplished her task and fulfilled her dream of enjoying the bus ride. That's why Valli was smiling to herself. But she did not want that anyone could know the reason of her smile. And there was very less possibility that anyone could come to know about the accomplishment of this venture by the girl. But hereby she did not want to give the hint to anyone that how she had done the outing outside the village and enjoyed her first bus ride out of the village. But there was a rare chance that anyone could know that how the girl had enjoyed. However, to read these ending lines, we are equally amused. Along with Valli, we discover how the little children used to do many secret things and secret trips like Valli without the knowledge of their parents. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you have well understood the explanation. For all your doubts and the queries, you can make call or text me.